Hey, what's going on everybody on YouTube? Steve here, Raiken Profit. I'm with my good friend Jamison.
What's going on guys? Jamison here, hanging out at Steve's house.
Super pumped up for today's video because I was talking to Jamison and in 2017 he did, what, $630,000? $630,000 in sales selling on Amazon, mostly going to retail stores, traveling the country, living an amazing lifestyle. And this year you said your goal was to hit how much in sales?
$1 million.
$1 million in sales from 6 to 7 figures. So we're gonna talk about, we got a bunch of notes here, we got about 5 things that Jamison's gonna be focusing on to be able to go from 6 to 7 figures. And we're sharing this with you guys because we want to help you to go from either 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. So these tips you're going to definitely be able to apply in your Amazon business, regardless if you're a beginner, intermediate, or an advanced seller. So why don't you tell them a little bit about you real quick before we get into this. Who are you? How long have you been selling online? So on and so forth.
My name is Jamison Philippi. I've been selling on Amazon for just under 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Every year I've grown my Amazon business. I started out in 2015-ish, give or take. First year I did 8,000, second year I did 220, third year 470, and then last year I did 630, and then this year I'm working to do 1 million.
Cool,
so,
awesome.
Yeah, living a great life, growing my business, traveling the country, meeting resellers,
Yeah, you've been on the road traveling for what, like a couple of years on and off now?
On and off for a couple of years, yeah.
And tell them exactly what your business model is. Like you're traveling, where are you buying from?
I mainly buy from Target, Walmart, and Toys R Us are my main 3 stores that I do buy from, and I know how everybody shops there and everybody talks crap about shopping there because everybody shops there. But if you start going directions that other people aren't going, you can still do well at these stores.
Cool, awesome. So let's just jump right into it and share with these, share with the folks these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tips that you're going to apply in your business to take your, your business from 6 to 7 figures. So the first thing, and I got my handy dandy little notes here to keep this video organized. But the first thing that you had mentioned to me before this video was sourcing more. So how are you going to be able to go from 6 to 7 figures by sourcing more? Because I can only imagine that you're already sourcing a ton.
Yes. I'm not very good at it, but I'm working on sourcing like smarter with my time. Because I can go into a store and end up killing an hour and, like I could have gotten that done in 30 minutes. Or like I'm working on being smart as far as planning my routes go.
Ooh,
so that way I can save, time driving to each store. I recently did get a car top carrier to give me a little bit more space.
I noticed that. I was wondering what that was all about.
Yeah, it's 13 cubic square feet, which isn't much, but it's still
We'll put a picture enough. Right here. I'm gonna take a picture and show it to everybody.
And I haven't admitted this to many people. I don't think anybody really knows. Is that I lost the key for it like 2 months ago, so I haven't been able to get into it.
How are you gonna get into it?
I don't know.
Did you buy a replacement key?
I actually was gonna look today, like because I had the car cleaned out. Now I can actually.
You got like $800 worth of like Toys R Us exclusives.
I actually have toys up in there too.
No.
Yes.
Wow, so that's cool. You're gonna source smarter. That's really, really important because I know what it's like to, be traveling and I'm just kind of hanging out, having fun. And if I was just a little smarter and plan my routes, because there's gonna be certain areas where you're gonna just get a bunch of the stores in one place. Same with thrift stores. So planning your routes and being a little smarter with that, with your sourcing is huge. And I know you were mentioning even doing 630,000. You said you were still slacking off quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on last year, I looked where I slacked and I made mistakes that I shouldn't have made, and I could have put more effort into the business.
Cool, awesome. So we talked about sourcing more. We also touched a little bit about sourcing smarter, but there's a couple more things that we talked about beforehand in regards to sales and coupons. Let's talk about that. How are you going to source smarter by going to sales and gathering coupons in advance?
My strategy isn't like amazing when it comes to that. Like when a new store has a sale for the week, generally like I'm buying on Sunday and I'm shipping out Monday. Like when they have, like we'll say if Target has a sale on whatever items and everybody goes after them, you either got to be the first one in or the last one out. with those sales.
Explain that. What do you mean by, I understand the first one in, because then you can be the first one to get the inventory into the warehouse and get those higher prices, but what do you mean last one out? Does that mean buy and hold?
Yes, like, I mean, that's not my strategy. Like, I've done that in the past where I try to get in first and sometimes I don't make it. Then sometimes you might end up waiting a month, 2 months, 3 months, you know, and the price could recover or it may not. So I work on getting my items in faster.
Okay.
And so that's definitely helped a lot, like just getting them in within a day of getting them.
How do you, what advice would you give to the folks who want to get into retail arbitrage, which is essentially going to retail stores and, you know, sitting into Amazon and making that profit in between what they're selling it for and what you can get on Amazon. But what advice would you have for people who are looking to find sales on Walmart and Target? Are you going to their websites? Are there publications? Or
Walmart generally does, actually no, Walmart doesn't have sales, I guess. They do rollbacks on items, but they don't have
like a little section where there's all the discounted stuff.
They don't, so, but like, I mean, in the past, Toys R Us would have sales and their Thursday.
So how do you find out about them? Is it just through
websites and their weekly ads?
Okay. Where are the weekly ads?
Online.
Oh, online?
In the store generally.
Okay. Cool. So you definitely, you know, if you're in the retail arbitrage game, you want to definitely be frequently checking out the websites and making, because what, do they have sales like every month, or is it like seasonal sales for the most part?
I mean, with Target, they have sales every week, but Target has been crap for a few months.
You were telling me,
Yeah, every few months Target will have a good sale.
Okay.
And then you got to get in quick because everybody else is going to get in quick, or you have to have the capital to be able to hold that
So when there's a sale, do you prefer to batch and like focus on that store? So say for example you're dealing with like 5 or 6 different stores on a regular basis. There's probably more just like little niche stores that you go to depending on where you are. But say Target's running a sale, will you avoid Walmart and Barnes and Nobles or whatever store you're going to because there's a sale and now you're going to just batch all those stores? Is that, would you consider that to be like sourcing smarter?
Yes, I definitely do that. Like when Target has a sale, say like Target will do this $25 off $100 toy purchase. I mean, I have friends that go crazy on that. Like, I hit that sale crazy, but I'm very, very strict on what I'm buying. Like, I try to avoid the stuff I know everybody's going to buy. Okay. So I'll look for the more rarer items just to give me that extra cushion.
How do you know what everybody will buy?
I mean, it's just like the more obvious stuff.
Like Legos and
the stuff that scans in. And like, I like to look for things that aren't scanned.
So you like to see when you scan something and nothing pops up? Is that a good sign for you?
Yeah, I like that generally.
A lot of times will you type it in manually and then find the listing that way?
Yeah, I'd say a portion of the time, not all the time, but some of the time.
Awesome. So we covered sourcing more. We talked about sourcing smarter, sales, coupons. You had mentioned it not speculating. You said that one of the things you were going to do this year to boost your sales was not speculating. What does that mean?
In the past, I'd say actually almost every year, I've speculated, start come September, October, I would start buying the things I think are going to do good.
Well, based on like the year before?
The year before, or the item I happen to think is a hot new toy. I mean, I did that with like fingerlings last year. Those were, I sold probably over 1,000 of them.
Wow. What were you making per fingerling?
I'd say like on average probably $4 or $5. Nice. But I was selling like literally, I'd send in 200 and they'd be gone in 2 days.
That's crazy.
But at the end they started to get harder to find, so I started to hoard them. I hoarded like well over 100 of them, and they were all selling for like 40, 50, 60, sometimes even 70, and I was still holding them thinking like, oh, these guys are gonna go up to 100.
Yeah.
And they ended up all dropping back down. I sold all of them at around 25 to 30 bucks. So I broke even, made $1 or $2. And so I didn't lose anything there, but I could have made more money.
Yeah.
And then also with the Lovabella fiasco of 2017, I know we're all still grieving over that one. I literally bought every one I found for the most part, and I held them all till December. I think my average buy cost was around 83 bucks.
Okay.
They were $100.
So what happened for the people who don't know what you're talking about?
I should have bought them and then sold them right away, and I could have made 15 to 30 bucks on each one. But instead, I held them till frickin' January because I didn't get a good out point because I started to drop below retail, and I had gotten stuck with them. So I had like somewhere around $70, $75. And they were selling at the time for 75 to 85. So after fees, you're picking up about 50 bucks on them. So I was losing 30, I don't remember, something like that. I ended up losing roughly around 2,200 bucks. I ended up just dumping them all and just say screw it and take the loss. I could have removed them and return them. I've got multiple friends that returned them, which I don't recommend doing. I figured that...
Piss off the stores.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing. My best Q4 advice for myself, or the best thing that I learned, was I could have just returned them and then I wouldn't have learned anything. But I took that $2,200 loss. Literally, I took $2,200 out of my pocket.
What do you got? Tell me what you got there.
I have my hourly alarm going off, and it's 3 o'clock right now. And the 3 o'clock alarm is, you are a rock star, baby.
He didn't drink any caffeine. He did not just come back from Starbucks. So that's actually a great segment into, or segue. What's the correct? I don't know. But let's transition over to lower margins. Because you said that, you know, obviously sourcing more, sourcing smarter, sales, coupons, not speculating as much. But you also talked about changing up your business model a little bit and focusing more on lower margins. Now, what you were explaining to me was, listen, in the past you might have spent $50 on a toy and you'd have to make at least $30.
Yeah.
But now, what you were explaining to me is you're willing to take a lower margin because, if you want to dive into that.
Yeah, I've changed up my strategy a lot this year. In the past, like you said, buy for $50 and I've got to make $25, $35, $40 an item, but the game has changed. So now, I'll buy those items still, obviously. Those are awesome items, but I'll also buy items that I know will sell quick for $50, or that I buy for $50 or whatever, and then I make 10 bucks on them.
And that's not for everybody, because you do need capital for that.
Yeah, you definitely
So if you're a beginner and you only have $100 in your bank
account,
account,
do that. Horrible idea.
But if you have a good nest egg, if you have a good amount of money to invest in your experience, that's another important thing as well, because I wouldn't recommend getting into these buys that you're dealing with unless you've been in the game for, let's say, at least a year or so. But when you start getting involved in lower margin items, you were telling me you find that there's a little less competition because not as many people want to put up 50 to make 10.
Exactly.
But you've got the capital, so you're willing to do those quick flips, which is helping you to, and again, the goal was $1 million revenue.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily mean your profit margin is going to improve, which I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that. But it's going to help you to reach that revenue goal. Obviously, at the end of the day, the goal is profit.
Yeah, of course.
But we were talking the other day, I mean, that $50 is just going to be in your bank.
Exactly. If it's sitting around doing nothing, wouldn't you rather make $10 than make $0?
Do you find, well, obviously your profit margins in general are probably going to become a little lower because your revenue is going to be higher because you're making more money, but you're going after these lower margins. Do you have a problem with that?
No, I do not. I do not. I used to think that was a bad strategy.
Yeah.
Like, I used to have friends that talked about this, and now that I'm a couple years further in the game, those friends are selling millions, but they're making smaller margins. They're still making more profit at the end of the day. And I never saw it that way. I thought it was stupid. Like, one of my friends told me, he was like, if you sold 500,000 and you made 20%, you know, would you do that? And I'm like, yeah, but then, like, but what if you sold 5 million and you made 10%?
Yeah.
Like, but you put in the same amount of work.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would I want to take a 10% margin? But, like, at the end of the day,
it seems more risky, but at the end of the day,
exactly. Like, so I'm starting to, like, grow my mindset and
I've noticed that regardless if it's retail arbitrage, thrifting, wholesale, private label, Shopify, as your sales grow, you're typically having to squeeze that margin, whether that's because you have more overhead, employees, but a lot of times you're having to become a little more competitive or pick up various items that have lower margins because you have more capital. So that's cool. Last thing I want to talk about with you that is on my handy dandy little Google Doc sheet is Q4. I wrote Q4 hard, stricter goals. So we go in, you said you want to go really, really hard with Q4, but you want to have stricter goals. What do you mean by that?
I did set some goals up for Q4 that I did pretty well Q4 as far as hitting my goals and all that.
You crushed it, dude.
But I seen where I slacked off a lot. I did take too much downtime, I believe, and I could have worked harder.
Were there any moments like, was there like a couple weeks where you just didn't do anything?
More towards the end of the year, I did take a couple weeks off, and I didn't do much of anything.
Were you just burnt out? Or
I was burnt out.
Going through life stuff and different things?
I put too much hard work into too much small period of time. I should have did that hard, you know.
It's like cramming for your test, right?
Exactly.
The night before.
Exactly. That's basically what I did. I should have started working hard earlier in the year, and then just consistently worked hard instead of just working, you know, day and night for 3 weeks straight, and then you burn yourself out and you get killed.
Cool, man. So out of all these things that we mentioned, sourcing more, sourcing smarter, not speculating, lower margins, or stricter goals in terms of Q4, which one would you say is your number one thing that you're going to focus on?
What were they again?
I know we got a lot of them here.
The speculating thing, I wanted to like continue on that. The thing with the Lovabellas where I said I lost $2,200.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, I talked with other friends and I was kind of thinking of the best strategy to get rid of them. And basically, like, I ended up deciding on I'd rather sell them and lose money on them, so that way I can learn. Yeah. Because if I just had them sent back to me and return them, I don't learn anything. Yeah. I basically could speculate on anything because I could just return it to the store. And at the end of the day, I want to win or I want to learn. You know, I want to. You learn more from losing than you do winning. So you returning the items to the store. What did you learn from that? Right. So I'm glad. You know, it sucked doing the $2,200 loss, but I learned so much from that. And that $2,200 that I lost, I'm going to end up making more money and more wisdom down the road off of that loss.
So what would you say the average profit margins are in this type of business model, retail arbitrage? Maybe yours or average that you've seen amongst your friends, so on and so forth?
I mean, a lot of my friends I've made a lot of mistakes in this business. Yeah. So a lot of my friends have outgrown me, and their profit margins have gotten higher because they're sourcing smarter. They've gotten employees. They're getting warehouses. They're putting teams together.
But what's like an average? Because people are going to ask in the comments, like, yeah, he wants to do $1 million, but what's his goal for his profit margin?
I mean, my average, so last year I sold, you know, X amounts of tens of thousands of items or whatever I sold. My average profit per item, I think, was $7.56. Yeah. So I do want to grow that.
So it's around like a 20% profit margin?
Give or take, yeah. Okay. Yeah, on average, yeah.
Okay, cool.
With everything I've sold through the whole year, so.
Right. So it is a little bit lower of a profit margin compared to like eBay or just thrifting and stuff. But it sounds like the main thing, and from my experience, I've done retail arbitrage for years myself. I'm not doing it as much anymore. But it's the key to retail arbitrage is you can scale. You can go and you can buy, you know, let me flip that over. You can buy like 20, 30, 40, 50 items. Like, so Jamison, he's here for the weekend, and downstairs, you wouldn't believe how many, he brought in what? How many SKUs did you just ship out?
I shipped out 250.
But he had like a couple different items that was like 30, 40, 50 deep. And it was really cool because when you were putting everything into Inventory Lab, which is the software that he uses to list, all you have to do is just like push 1 or 2 buttons, and now you have 50 items, and now all the labels, you know, the F and SKUs, which are the little barcodes, you slap them on. So it's like, it's really scalable, and it's kind of quick when you buy like 50 items versus like sending out 50 different items.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyways, everybody wish him the best towards his goal of $1 million. Appreciate it, brother. I have a feeling you're going to hit it this year, man, because you've been going really hard, and you know, based on the last 4 years, you've been like, would you say doubling? I don't think you double, but you're coming close. Like some years you're doubling, other years 25, 50%, but I think you're on pace to hit it. And you know,
I'm not hoping. I am going to hit it.
He's gonna hit it. He's gonna hit it. Do you have one of those things set in your phone? Like I'm a $1 million Amazon seller.
I have one that'll go off around 8 o'clock that says you are a millionaire.
Got it. Awesome. So if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. He also has a YouTube channel. Where can they follow you?
YouTube. At Jamison Philippi.
I don't know where he would be without me. Check the description, guys, for the details to follow him on YouTube. You have an Instagram too, which you got to get more active.
Yes, I'm not active on Instagram at all.
We're gonna get him active because he's gonna be a $1 million Amazon seller. So appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you.
Have a good day, all you little bed bugs.
Peace.